Okay.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. And we got a lot of people here already, which is great to see. And we'll just give everybody a few more seconds to come in, and we'll say hello. I trust that you can see us and hear us. Okay. Just let me turn my monitor on a little bit. Welcome. Yep. And we got a lot of people. Yep, that should be fine. Okay. So, hello, Diana. And in my quietude, and Brenda and Nadine. Bonsoir, Nadine. And Barb is here, and Elsa. In my quietude. Sorry, changed my name. This is Gail K. Oh, okay. Gail in Georgia. Alice is here from Georgia as well. Must be Georgia Day. I don't know. Nancy says from sunny Wisconsin. And Sue is here. And Philippa is here. And Marilyn, and Suzanne, Romper Stomper, Bomper Boo. Matt's here. Hi, Matt. Where did I lost my cursor? Here it is. Matt says, love the techno while we wait. Music. Walter doesn't like it.
Actually, I've gotten used to it now.
Well, I guess you have to. Derek's here. Hi, Derek. And Glenna is here from sunny Missouri. Colleen is here from Chile, PEI. Stephanie is here. Kristen is here. Donna. Laurel is in Hawaii. And Sherry. And Pamela from Minnesota. Yvonne. Gail, the other Gail. Carrie. Patsy. So we got quite the group already today, and I'm sure there'll be a few more coming in to join us as we get going.
Yeah, it's 4 degrees here, which is 39 Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit, yep. Quick way to figure out Celsius to Fahrenheit. Double the Celsius number, add 30, and you'll be within 1 or 2 degrees of it. That's the quick way to do it. There is a mathematical way.
I do it by looking it up on Google.
Well, there's always that, too. Dodeca? I don't know how to say it. Dodeca. I never know how to say that. Right. Shelley Clark is here. Still sewing borders on her PMQ. Okay, good. Thank you for giving us initials for things. I hate that. I really do.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
I have no idea what those... And people do this all the time on here, and I haven't got a clue what they're talking about, So... if you want us to understand what you're talking about, don't use short forms because we don't know what those mean. Walter got it. Okay, great. So it's Dodeca. Okay. So Dodeca, do you have a real name? Because quite frankly, calling you Dodeca kind of like almost sounds dirty.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Puzzle mystery quilt, Matt says. Oh, okay. Well, I wouldn't have got that in 1,000 years, but really,
I was thinking dirty stuff. But anyway.
Yeah, because that's where our mind goes. Brenda likes the shirts. We'll talk about those in a minute, Brenda. Thank you. Russ is here. Hi, Russ. Good morning. Russ, you're not in a different time zone from us. Or are you just getting up? I don't know. Janet Lloyd is here. Oh, there, Shelley says, sorry, puzzle mystery quilt, cotton cuts. Okay, yeah. See, cotton cuts does not mean much to us because we can't afford to do cotton cuts. They're too bloody expensive when we translate it into Canadian money and shipping.
Especially now that our dollar's like, it costs us for $1.40, about $1.40 to get $1 American.
Yeah, it's gone like... It's become even more than it was last week on it. It's just ridiculous for it. So when I jokingly say we have to take out a second mortgage to buy anything from the States, I'm really not joking. It's pretty bad.
Oh, Russ is on Waffle House time. It's always morning at Waffle House.
Oh. Waffle House. Do you ever cook at home? I know your favorite foods though, Russ. Let's see. You like Waffle House, and I know you like Chick-fil-A. We're not going to go there. There's a Chick-fil-A actually going to be coming to in our town.
Yeah, it's the second one in Canada.
Yeah, the second one in Canada. I don't know how I feel about that because Chick-fil-A is very Christian right in their beliefs, and they do not support the LGBT community, and therefore we don't support them. But I am curious as to what Chick-fil-A means. So I may have to go in incognito. I'll get a big hat, pull it over, wear dark glasses, kind of a thing. Go, slip me a chicken. Kind of thing.
Well, Russ says he used to work at the Waffle House.
Oh, didn't you, Russ, also work at Chick-fil-A at one time? I thought you said something about
doing
that.
all the food groups.
Or was that Sean? That might have been Sean, because I know there was a discussion one day we were having, and both Sean and Russ were in that discussion as well, and they were talking about where they worked when they were younger and stuff like that. We were talking about the stuff, and I think it was Sean said that he worked at Chick-fil-A at one point.
Yeah, apparently there's one in Toronto right now that's been open for a while, and then I was driving around there putting a new plaza in near us, and I said I saw this store and it had writing on the outside, and I thought, what does that say on the outside? Until I got closer, I saw it was Chick-fil-A.
Well, Candace is here. Hi, Candace. Russ says, I only go to certain Chick-fil-A's, and he never worked at Chick-fil-A. Okay. And but Stephanie says, I think it's changing since their founder passed. Many LGBTQ plus folks work at the one by us. Okay, so yeah, well, that's fine. I mean, yeah, that's good. So that means I can possibly check when they open up here. I can order something and feel guilt-free. Hi, Em. We'll smuggle you some Chick-fil-A when you come down to the retreat, just not on a Sunday. Oh, yeah. Now, I wonder if that's the same here. I wonder if they'll be open on a Sunday.
That'd be curious, because almost everything's open on a Sunday these days. I mean, Canada for a long time didn't have stores open on Sundays, and then it's quite a few years now that they started opening stores on Sundays, and they can't have discriminatory hiring policies here. So
yeah, so I don't know. Carrie says my friend calls it hate chicken, and I guess Stephanie says there's one in the place we're going to for the retreat too. Okay. So well,
I looked at their menu. It didn't really look that exciting to me.
No, is it kind of like Popeyes? And
no, it's just chicken on a bun.
Oh. Well, it's not breaded or
it's breaded. It's breaded, but it's not like they don't have like chicken pieces that you can buy like Popeyes.
Oh, well, okay, that's different.
I guess that's why it's called Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. Russ says closed Sunday is a corporate value for Chick-fil-A. Yeah, but I guess they could do that.
Yeah,
here.
I mean,
they don't have. There's no laws.
There's no laws
to be open on Sunday. So I guess So. And there are places, like most quilt stores are all closed on Sunday.
Yeah.
In that. Russ says, I call Chick-fil-A Jesus chicken. Why? Because they crucify it? Carrie says, in Georgia, I would what old jingles over chill fella. Okay, let me translate. I don't speak Georgian. In Georgia, I would
eat
Bojangles over Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, actually, there is a Canadian chicken company here called Mary Brown's, and apparently
she has the best breasts in town.
Apparently, they have. I haven't had one, but apparently they have really good chicken sandwiches there, to the point where people prefer it over like Popeyes and stuff.
Yeah. I haven't had anything from Mary Brown's in years.
No, I know. Usually their chicken's always kind of greasy, but we haven't had it for years.
We haven't had it in a long time. So
should try one of their sandwiches sometime. I keep saying that.
Yeah, you keep saying that, but we never get to that. Sue says everything in Missouri is open on Sunday except Chick-fil-A. Derek says no Chick-fil-A over here, but we get a Tim Hortons within the next month. All the Canadian staff and students at work are turning their noses up at it as they think it won't be as good as home. It's not good at home. Well, okay. No, their food is okay. I hate Tim Hortons coffee, but I swear there's a drug in it, because you say that. That's almost blasphemy in Canada to say that you hate Timmy's. Okay,
coffee. It's not that bad, but it's not.
Well, if you're used to drinking dirty dishwater, it's fine.
It was one of the better options when I was at work. So There were other options that weren't as good. So
yeah, but the food usually there is okay. The biggest problem we have with Tim Hortons here, well, it's not a problem. It's just every corner has a Tim Hortons, literally.
Well, actually, McDonald's coffee is a little better.
Yeah, McDonald's McRoast or whatever they call it, McCafe actually is much better than the Tim Hortons coffee, I think.
Yeah.
But they have lots of other stuff, though, to choose from, too. And they're pretty fast on the service. They're always busy. I mean, the cars, the drive-through is just huge lineups. There, yeah. But they move very, very quickly. And apparently they have quite the turnover in help because people can't handle the stress.
Yeah, and they have, like, really strict, like, serving times on them. So
yeah. Candace says, oh, is Lydia here? Hi, Lydia. Did Lydia pop in? I did say hello to Lydia. I don't see her.
I didn't see it.
Oh, okay. Candace is here. Says, I've known several people that worked there through high school and received great scholarships for college. Do you mean Tim Hortons or Chick-fil-A? Or Mary Brown's? Mary Brown's has the best legs in town. Actually, Scrunchions, it's Mary Brown's has the best breasts in town. It's what we always said as kids about that. A little, pubescent humor. Brett is here. Hi, Brett. And he loves the new shirts. And Shelly says, I get Bear Brand chicken at Costco. We don't have Chick-fil-A, and it's supposed to be a good dupe for their chicken. I don't think we've ever seen Bear Brand chicken in the Canadian Costco in our area. I haven't seen that, but then it wasn't
in our area.
No.
Well, we don't look for it, so I don't know.
So maybe. There are 3 Tim Horton locations within 5 minutes from my house. Yeah, you're never more than 5 minutes away from a Tim Hortons in Canada. Yeah. Oh, Candace's Chick-fil-A is what she was talking about. Lydia. Oh, there's Lydia. McDonald's coffee's better than Timmy's, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree with you, Lydia. The only problem with McDonald's coffee, and well, Tim Hortons too, is they set that sucker on the heat of the sun, the surface of the sun. It's like burn your lips.
Oh, would you rather have cold coffee?
I'd like to have something that when I grab the cup, I don't like throw it.
Burn your hands.
Because it's so hot, that kind of thing. I guess they have to keep it at that temperature to kill the bugs. I don't know, or whatever else is floating in it. But yeah, well, enjoy, Derek, when Timmy's comes. I'm sure it will be inundated with people because it'll be something new, I guess, on that side of the pond. Patsy says Sam's has a good dupe for Chick-fil-A too. Yeah, we don't have Sam's anymore here. We did for a very brief time. But
yeah, because Costco came in here quite a few years before that and established itself. And Canadians, basically the way they are, is that if you've got a membership for one place, we're not having membership for 2 places.
No, because we're cheap, okay? I've told you the joke before that I always blow.
I did, actually. I worked close to the Sam's Club that opened up, and I thought, okay, for the first year, I'm going to get a membership just to see what it's like. And we found really it wasn't worth it for us to have 2 memberships. So,
yeah. Hi, Catherine. Patsy says she had a cold coffee from McDonald's just yesterday. On purpose? Were you buying an iced coffee, or do you mean that they actually served you cold coffee? Because I have never, ever had cold coffee from McDonald's. Yeah,
actually, that's probably, Lydia, you're right. That's what because we both drink our coffees black.
Yeah, we don't cool
so there's nothing in it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why it's so hot.
Well, yeah, I guess because we're getting it. We don't have anything to cool it down with. Yeah.
When you get those doubles.
Yeah. Patsy says she didn't order a cold coffee.
Yeah.
That seems unusual with McDonald's, though. I don't think... You're the first person I've ever heard that said that they've been served a cold coffee.
Yeah, when you order a double.
Oh, yeah.
People won't know what it is.
Yeah, they won't know what a double is.
It's double cream, double sugar.
Yeah. Scrunchy says, your new shirts look very crisp. Love them. Job well done, Walter. Well, they are very crisp, and we can tell you why they're very crisp. These are the shirts that Walter made. We showed them on So Chatty as well, but these are the shirts that Walter made for that party we went to last night with the 1960s theme, and we'll come and talk a little bit about it because it was kind of interesting. Why are these... The fabric came from Spoonflower.
Came from Spoonflower, and it's their Pima cotton or whatever, and it is a bit... It's comfortable to wear, but it is a bit stiff the fabric is a bit stiff. Now, Brendan told me that if you wash them a few times, they get softer. So,
oh yeah,
yeah.
Was he had fabric for Spoonflower too?
He had that fabric with the large male members all over.
Oh yes, that one. The the dickin' about shirt.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. Yeah. But when you wash these,
I washed the fabric first.
Oh, you washed fabric first. Okay.
But I didn't wash it more than once. So.
Okay. Well, if they get dirty, we'll wash them. Otherwise, we'll wait till they stand up. Well, they already stand up on their own. But anyways, they seem to be a hit at this party. No one else had the same shirt.
No, I know. Everybody was dressed. Most of the guys were dressed in suits and ties.
Well, we're going to come to that in a minute. But let me catch up here on some other things. Patsy says, McDee's has gone to the pits around here. Did you all have a good time at the party? Yep, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Derek says, we seem to also be going down the drive-through route with all these new restaurants over here. Culturally alien to us, as I can't imagine going to drive-through for anything when you could walk in. Yeah, it's a thing here in Canada too with the drive-throughs.
Actually, it wasn't for a long time. No. It's sort of it started in the United States and then migrated up to Canada, and now everything's drive-through.
Yeah, so. Everything's a drive-through. And it's okay if you're going to go someplace to eat it, but I don't like eating in a car because I tend to drop things.
Yeah, but a lot of people, like especially for Tim Hortons, a lot of people that I used to work with used to drive through Tim Hortons in the morning on their way to work to grab a coffee. So
yeah, I guess. Well, that's true. I didn't do that. We had a coffee maker when I was in school. And talking about drinking cold coffee, that's usually what I had most of the day because I get myself a cup of coffee, leave it on my desk, school, and of course I'm busy in the classroom, and by the time I got to it, the day was done and it was cold. So anyways, yeah, so just before we talk about the party, some things to show you. I have started some new projects, and I'll just throw this up here. Now, these are all works in progress. Okay, so I've got two things happening here. The blocks at the top part of the display wall are the ones for the pattern, which was one of the choices that you could make for the one I was going to do for the 4S Club collaboration. Well, I finished the kitty one, at least the top. I haven't got it quilted yet. So I thought I'd work on the other one that came in second, which was the Bundles of Joy. And yeah, there's 48 of those blocks I have to make. And I've only got 13 of them done so far. 13? Yeah, 13 with that. But I should have been working on it yesterday, and I intended to, except that Designs by Juju, which is one of the places I buy online my machine embroidery files, had a sale on, and they were advertising this wall hanging. It says, Believe in the Magic, the Santa one. It's not sewn together yet. I just finished the individual pieces just half an hour before we went to air. And so tomorrow I have to sew it together. But it's a wall hanging. And I thought it was cute. And it was on for half price. So I bought it. So that's what I was working on when I should have been working on the Bundles of Joy. But there's still lots of time for that. I'm not on any kind of schedule for it.
Actually, Bundles of Joy remind me of those characters in those old video games that you had with the, like the...
Oh, Space Invaders?
Space Invaders, yeah.
I thought they kind of looked like cats with sunglasses. Some of them, little ears. And I said this to Walter the other day when we were looking at it. I said, if I was to do all of the blocks, like the rows in each block in the same color and the ears, but change the one row underneath the ears into something that was a different color, it would look like cats wearing sunglasses, which I think would be kind of fun. But you're right about the Space Invaders. You could make it into a Space Invaders one too. It's a kind of a versatile pattern when you think about it. But that, and here's the sucker bucket. Here's the sucker holding his sucker button. So this was one of the things that we gave to the lady that was celebrating her 60th birthday. So 60 sucks, and there are 60 suckers in that. And of course you recognized thimble can as well. We had to weight it, though. So she's getting something a little extra. We don't know if she has an aquarium or not, but we put in a Ziploc bag a whole bunch of aquarium stones to weight it down, because you wouldn't think those suckers are heavy. But when you got 60 of them in there, we were afraid the bucket might tip over. So we counterweighted it with a bag full of these little rocks in there.
Yeah.
So you didn't give that note when you wrote the little note about that being from us as well. You didn't mention about the little rocks, did you?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I figured she can figure that out herself.
Well, she might not. She probably hung over today, anyways. But yeah,
more than likely, because she was pretty half snapped when we left.
Well, she was having a good time, you know. It's her birthday; she's entitled to it. So, anyways, we can. Oops, let me get the camera on the right one. Yeah, there we go. People are saying, "Oh, Kelly's here." Oh, Shirley's here. Hello, Shirley. Around to it. Backing up here. Catherine says, seems good for winter.
I think drive-thrus, maybe.
Yeah, probably. And Elsa says, in Edmonton, we now have to pay 15 cents if we want a bag for our food in the drive-thru.
We haven't hit that yet.
No, we have. Well, have we had anything from the drive-thru with food in that?
Wendy's the other day.
Oh, right. Yeah, they haven't hit us with that yet. But it'll come. Janice is here. Hi, Janice. Shirley says, I rate my progress during the day by how many rings I have in my coffee cup. Right. And Barb says, Elsa, that's crazy. Are they really going to pass you a container of fries if you don't want a bag?
Yeah, that might be kind of
messy.
That'd
be kind of messy. Yeah, fries everywhere. Lydia says, yes, cats with glasses, especially the third one in the top row, now that you've mentioned it. Yeah, because that's what I was thinking. That's what tuned me into it, because they had those circle pieces in it. Julie's here. And Barb says, it reminds me of a video game called Burger Time, where the chef walked over parts of a burger to make a complete burger. I don't know if I ever saw that game. No. I'm not sure.
Actually, I got the idea was suckers because when it was my 50th birthday, somebody gave me a pail with 50 sucks. So I thought it was kind of fun.
We've used that before too, haven't we?
Yeah.
We got a lot of mileage out of that stolen idea. Hi, Sherlock. Love the bobbins on the wall behind Walter in the picture you just showed us. Actually, they're supposed to be bundles of fabric. That's why it's called bundles of joy. But bobbins work too. So whichever. Marilyn says, Stephen, the cats on your shirt remind me of the black cat clocks from the 60s. Their eyes and tails used to be. Yeah, my aunt had one of those too. Yeah. Well, this is definitely very 60s.
I have an embroidery pattern that has the cat on it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one for retro cats or something too that I've never really used. So, anyways, those are what we've been up to. Some reminders. Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, Wednesday as usual, 9 a.m. Be there, be square. Pop up, except in my notes, I called it poop. We're having a poop up sew day. Glad it's virtual. We have a pop-up sew day coming Saturday. Coming Saturday, November 18th. The link is in the show notes below, and I sent out an email to everybody that's on my mailing list this morning. So those of you that can join us, that's great. And when I say we, I mean me. Because Walter is got his own sew day down at the club, and he's going this time. With them. Actually, when Brendan, who's the teacher of the class and this sew group organizes it, asked me if I was coming, and I said, no, I have a pop-up sew day, but I was almost tempted to say, hell no, it's boring as hell. Why do I want to hang out with you people that make garments? Really? It's the same old thing. Gail's making a dress, Walter's making a shirt or a bag. You're probably making bags this time,
yeah,
right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. And then some drag queen is working on a sparkly outfit. So, like, whatever. Nah, I'd rather be with my peeps. You can go with your peeps. I'll go with my peeps. So, sorry, Walter's Fan Club. He will not be here on Saturday for that. And
Somebody says, when was the bowling shirt craze? Was it 60s too? Yeah, it was the 60s. I do have a pattern for a bowling shirt, but I don't really like the collar on it. So
No.
I made a couple of them.
You made them, but yeah, they're not.
But I don't really like the way the collar works.
They're great if you're bowling, though.
Yeah.
Haven't bowled for years. I have my own shoes, though. I used to bowl on a lead.
I made that style, but I didn't make it in the way the bowling shirt line is. But I do have it, and I wear it. It's made from one of my favorite fabrics, but I don't really like the collar on it that much.
Oh, and Elsa says the price for the bag is going up to 25 cents.
And they say it's a city council thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a tax.
Yeah.
These stores that when they started getting rid of the plastic bags and then everything like that, now bring your own bag. I think a lot of those stores, is that money really going to the environment?
Well, when she says it's a city council thing, I bet you the stores have to fess up and give city council, it's their way of collecting an additional tax.
Yeah, so that.
But it's kind of a stupid thing, because when you get a bag from a drive-through, a lot of stuff that contains stuff that's not easy to handle.
No.
No, you can. It's like, I mean, like you said, fries, or like get a bag, throw
the fries in the door.
Get a bag full of a couple of those donuts with the ing on top. That would be get them separate. Like that'll be a thrill.
Hand them out to you on the end of a stick.
Yeah,
go with it. But yeah, okay. So the chances of this hitting here, and at first, when you first described it, it sounded like it was something being done by the corporation, but now it sounds like
it's
the city
I'm not
council.
sure how well that would go over here.
No,
as it is with the complaining of. So
yeah, that's right. I don't know. Walter Julie says could do a live stream connection from his group with our SOS group, day group, and everybody say hi. Yeah, he won't do it. I have brought this up. He won't do it.
Well, part of the problem is there are people that come to it that probably wouldn't agree to do that, because it's in a gay club, and there's other people that may be uncomfortable being broadcast. So
yeah, I don't think any of those people that show up there are that
shy. No, the three people like Brendan, Gale, and myself aren't. But if there's
Mark
may not be.
I don't think.
But then there's a lady that came that's transgendered, and she may not be too.
Well, you don't put her on.
Yeah, I know, that's true.
Like if somebody doesn't want to be on it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what we can do about that, Julie. I've worked on him before about this, and they have a decent internet connection right there where Walter's going to be. I mean, I think it would be kind of interesting for the people that are on the pop-up day to see another group of people working on things that aren't quilts. And just, you just take your phone and go around and say to Gail, what you working on? Gail will definitely want to show what she's working on, because she loves to show her stuff, and her stuff is fantastic. And you guys, some of you have met Gail because she's come to a couple of Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen ones in the summertime. She can't go to those now because she works full time. She is, I learned a new term last night. She was the head secretary of the school she works at, but they don't call them head secretaries anymore. They call them school managers, which is the new term, which I did not know. But we found out last night because her daughter was giving sort of a little speech about her mother and said that, that she was the head secretary at the school, and her mother, Gail, corrected her and says, I'm the school manager. So there you go. And believe me, head secretaries, they are school managers, because the head secretary in any school rules. And the first thing you do when you're new in a school as a teacher is you cozy up to the head secretary and kiss her ass as much as you can and bring her chocolates. And she'll love you forever, and you'll get lots of things from her. I had a good relationship with every head secretary in every school that I ever worked in, because, they're really the ones that rule. The hell with the principal. They come and go. Head secretaries, school managers are forever. So, yeah, you want to be nice to them. Oh, Kelly had to go. Okay, bye, Kelly. Oh, Shirley has her own bowling shoes and 10-pin bowl. Oh, you 10-pin. I used to 5-pin. Actually, I like 5-pin better than 10-pin. I haven't bowled in a long time. Derek says, I have to buy bags everywhere in stores over here. People were resistant at first, but I must admit that I go through far fewer bags and have far less plastic waste. Well, we have to too. Actually, we can't even buy them anymore.
Unless you're buying a reusable bag.
Yeah, they have reusable bags that you can buy, but you have to bring your own bag. And we're getting pretty much used to that. Even our local quilt store now encourage you to bring your own bag. They will give you a bag.
Especially if you make a big purchase.
Yeah, on that kind of thing. But we make a point of bringing our own bag in as well with that. I mean, yeah, it takes some time to get used to, but it is the way of life now. And give it another little bit of time, another year or so. It's second nature now.
Yeah, I know.
It's pretty much second nature
I'm
now.
just sort of saying, like, for drive-thrus, like when you're buying stuff like things like food, and or things like donuts or something like that, I would find that difficult to get. You have to bring your own container for that.
But something too. I mean, I'm not against this, and as Derek says, far less plastic waste and everything. And they talk about it being single-use plastics. But look at what our stuff from manufacturers come in, and they are not restricted. Mm-hmm. You look at the over-packaging of a lot of things. Now, some have cut back on that. But some, like you go to Costco and you pick up a small item, it sometimes comes like almost double. Like a little tiny thing will come in a huge plastic type of container. I guess that's to thwart theft kind of a thing. People shoplifting, because it's too big and awkward if it's a little thing. And now I think actually Costco doesn't even have that out. I think now you have to take a card up and when you pay for it, and then they go to a lockup.
Well, that's especially true if you're buying an expensive item that's a electronic item or something like that.
But there's still an awful lot of packaging there. And what's the government doing? What the government always does, picks on the general populace, the little people, not on the manufacturers of these products.
There's a lot of stuff in the produce department that ends up having are prepackaged. Like you can get like green peppers or something like that are often packaged four together in a cellophane pack or something like that. And
you do this all the time. So we're getting some peppers and the whole bit. And you get one of those stupid little bags that you can never get open that they have there in the produce section, and you're putting everything in those little bags. And I'm thinking, why do we need to put a celery stalk or a pepper in one of those bags? We've got a bag with us. We have those blue bin things. Yeah. Why are we...
Yeah, but you have to transfer it on the counter to weigh it and stuff like that.
Yeah, so
I don't like it touching the germy things on the counter.
Oh, and who's been putting the peppers in the display and everything like that? And how many people have gone through the peppers and they've been licking their fingers and they're touching the food? You watch them all. So, you bring it home, you wash it. I don't know. I mean, if we're going to get to this thing about single use, like, and everything, then we should be doing more, I guess. Julie says, head secretary is school manager. Does that mean the lunchroom monitor is now the herd manager? Yeah, probably. I would say that would be, we used to call it when we had to supervise in the lunchroom, pig duty. We call it pig duty. Oh yeah, there's nothing grubbier than a kid eating. Okay. Oh, Angel's here. Hi, Angel. Shelley says, I don't mind bringing my own bag for groceries or stores, but taxing on a paper bag for McDonald's is dumb. I agree with you, Shelley. I mean, yeah. But is it the corporation doing it, or it sounds to me like, at least out in Edmonton, it's the city council that's applied that. It doesn't sound like it's the corporation necessarily doing that, so I don't know. Hi, Mona. Russ says, Massachusetts has the whole bag thing. I never have bags on me when I go up there to visit, and it drives me crazy. Yeah, I know.
I always have a pile of bags in the back of my car.
Yeah, and then he can't find them.
Yeah.
And he's picky about the bag he uses. We'll spend 5 minutes to go in a grocery store as Walter sorts through his bags. Like, really? Yeah. Angel says, don't diss the peppers. Actually, we grow our own. So, which reminds me, we should plant some more.
Yeah,
get them going, yeah, because we're going to get low, and we'll be forced to have to go in and buy a grubby pepper.
Yeah.
Elsa says, we're paying for the drive-through paper bags. Yeah. And Deb is here. Hi, Deb. Mozilla. Okay, so let's talk about the party. So we went last night. Now, I'll admit it, I'm having some mental issues. I've been feeling a lot of anxiety lately, and part of my anxiety, I think, is due to not wanting to go out, and that's a leftover from COVID. And there's still, I don't know, maybe it's my age or something. I'm a little preoccupied with the whole thoughts of death. I mean, that's a downer. My own, Walter's, the world. I'm trying not to let it get to me too much, but I've had a few nights where I've had anxiety attacks. I used to get anxiety attacks when I was much younger, and I get them every blue moon, but lately I've been having them on a little bit more regular basis. By the way, where are those gummies? The next one we need.
Oh yeah, I got some.
So yesterday, you're going to laugh at this, okay? I put on shoes, of course, to go out, but I put on my more dressy shoes, and my one foot felt really confined, and I'm a claustrophobic, and one of my problems with being a claustrophobic is I have to be able to wiggle my toes and move my feet. If something is binding my feet or my legs or my toes, or it feels too tight, I panic. I know, it sounds ridiculous, but it happens. And so I stuck my foot in my shoe, and it was a little tight, because the other shoes that I wear are a little bit more stretchy.
Old man stretchy.
Yeah, I finally, Walter's been wearing old man stretchy shoes for years. And then in the summer, I bought a pair of Skechers that you don't have to lace them up. You can slip your foot in. They're damn comfortable. I really like those shoes. So my feet haven't been really used to being restricted. And I changed my socks. I looked for a thinner pair of socks because I thought my socks might be a little too thick for those shoes. Of course, all my socks are thick, so that was not easy to do. And I just had to get a grip. But also, I was a little concerned. Okay, this is the first time we've gone to anything that's got a lot of people at it in close confines. And I'm thinking, I haven't had my next booster yet. Which really, we got to get next week. We've got to get that arranged. Yeah. We had to wait until our time came up for it. Our time is now here. Mine is anyways. Yours is technically not till the 22nd.
Yeah, wow.
But I think they'll go a little earlier than that. But I don't want COVID. We had friends who were supposed to go to their place the first weekend on December 1st, actually, for sort of a pre-Christmas dinner with them. They live in downtown Toronto, and they just got back, or they would have just been getting back from a cruise about 2 days before that, but they just got back from another cruise, and they got COVID. They didn't have it too severely. They were all up to date on their boosters and everything. They said it was more like just a cold kind of a thing, but they did test positive. So we decided, since, cruise ships, I don't know if you watch any YouTube videos about the cruise industry, but there's a couple that I watch on a semi-regular basis. And it seems like everybody that gets off a cruise ends up with COVID, or there's an outbreak of COVID on these cruise ships or whatever. So we're going to Georgia, as you well know, tail end of December. I really don't want COVID and have to cancel that. So these thoughts are all going through my mind. But we went, and, I'm fine.
So far.
Nobody seemed to be hacking up a lung or anything there. So, hopefully people were sensible, and ones that may have had symptoms of whatever stayed away. I don't know. But anyway, so, yeah. But I went anyways, and it was kind of good to get out. I mean, we didn't stay to the better end. Well, we left about 10:30. It started around 8. We left about 10:30. You know, straight parties are just not our thing. We sat with the drag queen. Because one of our friends who does drag, well, it's the guy who teaches Walter's sewing class.
Yeah.
He did 2 little performances for Gail, because Gail's also in the sewing class as well and knows Brendan well. So I don't know if she asked him or he volunteered.
Well, she was talking about hiring somebody to come. And he says, "Oh, don't do that. I'll just dress up and do a couple of numbers for you." So,
and he did, and the crowd seemed to be appreciative of it. They seemed to like it and everything like that. So that was good. But they were playing. Actually, the disc jockey was her husband. Actually, he was pretty decent disc jockey. Like he was pretty good. Like they were started off with doing stuff from the '60s, right? Because the whole theme of the party was the 1960s. And he moved up into a little bit more modern, but he had a nice variety.
Yeah.
And all the old ladies were having a great time. In fact, this one woman comes over. Well, it happened to be Gail's mother.
Yeah.
And one of her daughters or something, or no, it was because I asked the woman if she was a sister to Gail. She said, no, she was cousin. And she introduced me to Gail's mother, sat her down at our table, and said, "This is Rose and everything, so you be good with Rose." And so said to Rose, I said, "So am I supposed to be babysitting you?" Before next thing I knew, she'd escaped. She was on the dance floor dancing with something. Well, it might have been Gail's father. I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, it's some. Well, she was having a really great time.
I don't know how much difference in age between her mother and her mother and her is, because she was
just a shaker.
If she had her when she was 20, she'd be 80 now. So
yeah, well, she was a live little wire. She was having a good time, so that was kind of nice. I always like to see people who are a lot older than me still up there and moving, because it gives me hope there is life after 65, kind of a thing. But anyways, we sat at the table. Now they had, we got there and the parking lot was packed, but there's 2 sort of venues on the same property, and there must have been something else going on in the other venue, so that's why there were so many cars. But it was kind of hard to find a parking spot, but we managed to nail one. And then they had an open bar, and they had a drinks list. They had 3 cocktails. Well, one was called Tits Up. And so I went and stood in the line to get Walter and I a couple of Tits Up. And oh my God, they had this one woman was the bartender. And because these were mixed drinks, they had wine and they had beer, but everybody was trying the Tits Up, and I don't know what the other ones were called or whatever. There was a bit of a line, and she was not fast.
I think one of the other ones was like Prosecco and fruit juice or something like that. So Bellini or whatever.
Oh, I didn't know they had a Bellini.
Yeah.
Oh, I could have Bellini.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the name caught me. They had me at tits. No. In fact, when I finally got up to the counter and ordered, I thought I'd just be funny. And I says, "I'll have a couple of perky breasts, please." She goes, "What?" I said, I didn't want to say tits. But so whatever, it's on the menu. So 2 tits up, please. And all they were was actually very tasty. It was rum with amaretto and pink lemonade and club soda. It was quite tasty, but it took forever because they were also garnishing the glasses. They had a couple of maraschino cherries on a spear and a little orange slice. The whole theme of the night was supposed to be a 1960s cocktail party, and you were encouraged to dress that. We were kind of casual cocktail party in these shirts because a lot of the men, well, most of the men were wearing jackets.
Yeah, well, the idea was it was supposed to be like a 1960s cocktail party. And so I looked up what 1960s cocktail parties were, Mad Men type of thing. And it's like men with jackets and ties and women with cocktail dresses,
the
right?
little black dress.
And I said, well, I'm not wearing a jacket and ties.
If I'd known the crowd better and wanted to put the effort into it, I would have gone to the Goodwill or Value Village and that, see if I could find a little black dress that would fit me, and got a wig.
You wouldn't be able to get a little black dress today.
Have you seen the size of some of those women that were
Yeah,
at that?
oh Lord.
There was that one. Holy
There was one
crap.
woman there that must have been 6'5" and almost as big around.
Well, she was pregnant too.
She was pregnant too. And her husband was about
Little
half
short,
that size.
They look like a comedy routine.
I go, well, how did that work?
Yeah. But I would have got a little black dress, and I would have got, I see if I could get a wig that could, do a sort of a little beehive kind of thing, and a long cigarette holder and pearls, and gone as Audrey Hepburn, and maybe a little bag, get some, fake costume jewelry, big lump ring, and the black gloves, and a bag with like an egg McMuffin or something in it, and go, breakfast at Tiffany's. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much his classic 1960s style. Yeah, but I didn't. We wore our retros. We had a lot of comments about our retro shirts. People got it. That was there. But she also, Gail, the one there, she had done the whole thing up like that marvelous Mrs.
Maisel.
Maisel, kind of a thing. She had that. She even actually had a little video screen playing that show as well. So there was a lot of thought went into this. They had a huge thing that said 60 on it with light bulbs. And I said, well, hang on to that for about 30 years. You can just turn the 6 upside down and it'll work at your 90s and everything.
Yeah, this is the card to go to the party. So
yeah, the invitation.
Yeah, the invitation. So that was kind of cool.
And you see her name, she used her last name instead of Maisel. She had it printed with her last name, but in the style of that. And she was dressed in the style for it too. She changed outfits a couple of times in there. But she's a fantastic seamstress. I mean,
she's a really good sewer. Yeah. Like she has this beautiful fuchsia coat that she made that's all draped out and everything, and winter coat, and it's all lined and everything. It's really beautiful, and you would never know that somebody she had made it herself or anything.
No, actually, I love that coat that she made. Why does it want to highlight everything? Oh, now I've got... Okay, come back. Screen, thank you. Drives me mental all the time. So I just trying to catch up here.
Love the bobbins on the wall.
No, we had talked about that already. You're behind. I'm just trying... I moved my cursor up too fast. Bowling shirts... Bowling, buy bags, bowling in leagues,
don't diss the peppers.
I don't mind bringing my own bags. We talked about that. Massachusetts, peppers, don't diss the peppers. Elsa says that the bag thing's a city council bylaw, so it's not even a business one. So it's a tax. It's a tax. Angel says those peppers pay by salary, which buys the fabric. Yeah, true. We have more purple ones too, Angel. We got a couple more purple ones coming on. Having the same troubles too, Stephen. Okay, so it must be a thing. And Pamela says, I understand that feeling of anxiety. Started to hear it's coming on worse. Well, I'll get over it. There's always drugs. Hi, Jeannie. Yeah, true. If your feet hurt, your body's miserable. It's not that it hurts. It makes me feel restricted. And that kicks in my claustrophobia, and then...
Yeah, it's like if he wears, if he went to someplace and you put a jumpsuit on. Yeah, he gets really claustrophobic.
Yeah, so. Like we went to Las Vegas once, and there was that indoor parachuting kind of thing they have in there. And we were going to do it, and I started putting on the jumpsuit that they have, and I couldn't. It was too restrictive, and I started to panic, and so I didn't do it. Walter did it, but
I'm not claustrophobic.
No, but I hate sleeping bags. I cannot get into a sleeping bag.
In fact, what was it? We did the bridge walk in Australia. Yeah, the bridge walk in Sydney. and you put the jumpsuit on and felt really restricted, but you were able to get over it.
Yeah, well, I got it. It wasn't, the one in Sydney wasn't so bad. It was the one I was going when I was doing the tower, edge of the tower, the CN Tower, and hanging over the edge of it. And I had to get into a jumpsuit. And when I got into that, and I started to have the panic attack, in fact, to the point where the woman next to me, she said, "Are you all right?" She says, you've kind of gotten suddenly white. Yeah. And I said, "I'm claustrophobic in this suit," but I said, "I'm determined I'm going to do this. I won this. I'm doing it." And I can talk myself down. But it takes me some time. I try not to let it get to me. I will talk myself down and get a grip. Like I was talking to my shoe. My foot. Lest I go, "No, you're wearing this shoe. Your toes can move. Worst case scenario, you can take the shoe off."
And you wore those shoes for years and years every
day. I know.
Day.
But I've gotten used to over the last 6 months wearing those other ones, and my feet kind of a thing. That's why I like my sandals. Mm-hmm. My feet are free. But anyways, it's just everybody's got their thing.
Like, I mean, he is really claustrophobic, and I really have a bad thing about heights.
Yes.
He put the jumpsuit on in Sydney, and I'm worrying about the height of the bridge.
Yeah.
But actually, I was okay. I was roped in enough that it didn't bother me that much. So.
Yeah. So I don't. Yeah. It's not. I was not a claustrophobic when I was a little kid. When I was a kid, this is something that developed when I became an adult. For some reason, I don't know why.
Well, it's probably those pajamas and the...
Well, that may have started it with the flannel pajamas and flannel sheets. No, not happening. Felt man. Matt says there's some kind of drugs I can't pronounce for anxiety. Yeah, but I don't want to take drugs for it. The closest I can come is to a gummy. And all that does is make me sleep. So then I don't worry about it. Hi, Billy. Derek says, "I'm also still a bit jumpy with people getting too close in stores or when showing students how to do things, etc. Think it will take a while to shake the behaviors fears we live with." Yeah, and the media is not helping us, is it? The media is turning around, and every day now, there's a new strain out there. This one's very contagious, blah, blah, blah. Get your shot, all this kind of stuff again. And last week when we went to get our flu shots, the clinic we go to for those had a big sign on the door that masks were mandatory in there for it, which, yeah, I can understand that because, there could be people coming in that are, have a cold even or whatever. So, I get that. But, when I see somebody else wearing a mask when you're just out, like say you're in the grocery store and there's somebody in there wearing a mask and you're not, and you kind of feel like, should I be wearing a mask? Kind of a thing. I mean, this is the side effects or the after effects of the whole pandemic. And it's going to take some time, I think, for us to get, if we ever get back to anything called normal. Catherine says you had me at rum. A big black Barb. Barb, why would you be saying it was a big black dress? I have the body of a 20-year-old. Apparently I have to give it back, though, because I've been abusing it. Janet says, "Just getting over COVID. I don't have a clue where I was exposed. The worst part has been the coughing." Yeah, we have a friend who was coughing up blood. He got COVID.
Got it this week. So.
Yep. And he had to go to the hospital. And apparently, though, he's got...
bacterial pneumonia associated with it.
Yeah.
But he is susceptible to stuff.
Yeah, he has a lot of other medical issues too. But nevertheless, you hear this kind of stuff, makes you fearful. To have an MRI. It says, "Oh, yes, I know, Marilyn."
Apparently, they will give you a drug to help
relax you.
Relax you, yeah.
Yeah. Everything makes me paranoid anymore. I mean, I'm not looking forward to having to go to the dentist for my teeth cleaning, which happens in a couple of weeks' time either, because they all want to hurt me. Dentists want to hurt me. Doctors want to hurt me. They all want to hurt me. What do I ever do to them? I just give them a lot of money, like especially the dentist. Holy crap. It's not
sort of a BDSM thing.
Yeah, really. Yeah, if they don't get you physically, they're going to get you financially. So it's pain all the way around. But anyways, yes, the party was a good party. people, I think, were enjoying themselves. We didn't have any.
The only thing
food.
is that we didn't really know anybody there, other than there was like Brendan and his partner, and there was another lady I saw with Karen and her husband. So
yeah, but
I mean, other than Gail, I didn't really know anybody else there. So
no, and oh my God, the music was so loud. Do I ever feel like an old man?
We had a hard time talking.
I didn't know what anybody was saying to me at all.
We were trying to have a discussion with Karen and her husband about travel, and it was really hard to hear. So,
which I would have thought, given that the fact, well, no, there were younger people there at the party too. So I guess whatever. I mean, just getting old. M says, Xanax used to make me feel real good until it didn't. And I'm still struggling going out every day, not knowing if it's depression, COVID, or both. But I plan to buy some beads and stones. Okay. I'm not sure how the beads and stones work, but...
Well, he has trouble going outside, I guess.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, I mean, but what are the beads and stones some kind of holistic...
well, maybe he just needs some beads and stones for a project or something.
Well, I'm now completely confused.
Okay,
I don't know either. But you always base your opinion on a minimum amount of information.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure.
Yeah. But anyways, so, yep, it was a good time. All right. Now, more serious topic here. If you heard Idiot Quilter last week, you will remember that I had a person I reached out to who will go unnamed because I'm protecting this person's...
embroidery. Beads and stones for embroidery.
Oh, okay. So not a help thing. What was I saying? Okay. So I contacted somebody for an interview. Now, this is somebody that people have been asking me to contact over the past year. And I have sent out a couple of emails over the last year and never got an answer back. But I thought I'd give it one more try. And I still didn't get an answer back until about a week, 2 weeks later, because this person, they didn't see the email, I guess. However, it worked. And that's fine. But turned down the interview. And the reason for turning down the interview was because of their employer. They said they had to be very careful about who they associate it with and what they said or what discussions they got involved with on social media and YouTube. And therefore, he was sorry, but that he couldn't do an interview. So, okay, fine. But I got thinking, that's really quite nasty of an employer to do this. Now, there may be certain circumstances, like, for example, if you've got a government job and it's a sensitive job, like you're involved in some kind of security or in, in our country, you work very closely with the politicians, your assistant or something. I could see that the government would say, okay, you're not to talk about your job, you're not to talk about the government, all this kind of stuff. I could see that. But
the work that I did, I always got, we got messages that if we were on social media, we were not allowed to discuss the work or the company or whatever.
And he also used the word monitored, that they monitored his outside of work hours actions. Well, that sounds very, very, hello, Russia, or some other country, not here in Canada and the United States. Now, this individual is an American. So I was having this discussion with another person as well, and they said, yes, in the States, employers can do this. Now, I thought in Canada, I didn't think they could because we have something called a human rights code. And that human rights code, our Constitution, would be in violation of it. So I did some research, and I'm going to share the research with you and show you the difference between our two countries. Actually, there isn't that big a difference I found between our two countries. So for the Canadian side of this, let me get it up here. This is what that's the American. Here we go. So they talk, first of all, in this article, I did basically a search and put, can a Canadian employer restrict what an employee says or does outside of business hours or within their business? And this is what came up. So the Charter of Rights to Free Speech is confined to government action, and most public sector employees have the free rein, subject to its obligation to not discriminate on protected grounds such as political affiliation, to control expression in the workplace. So basically they're saying, yes, although we have a Charter of Rights that protects free speech in Canada, an employer can do things. They can restrict certain actions or talk or whatever. But further down in this article, it states that basically what this means is, as long as the employee is not saying or doing anything that threatens the security of other employed people in their business, or creates an insecure environment or an environment that involves discriminatory or hate-like actions or speech, then that's as far as the employer can go in restricting them. They cannot fire them for outside of their time or anything like that. But they can discourage those kind of actions, and they can be terminated if it becomes a ongoing problem that other people feel insecure they don't feel safe in the working environment. So, but then I looked up the states one, and the states say that, of course, there's the First Amendment, right? But they say that the First Amendment does not protect your right to free speech from workplace restrictions by a private employer. So basically in Canada, it can be restricted if you're working for a government agency or a government, like a provincial or federal government agency. But they're saying in the States, the First Amendment does not protect you if you're being employed privately. So it says if you work for a private employer, then the First Amendment does not protect your speech in the workplace. Your employer can restrict your rights to free speech without implicating the First Amendment. Private employers are any entities that are not part of the government. They include corporations, businesses, and nonprofits. And the article goes on to say that essentially, an employer in the United States, a private employer, can set the ground rules, and if you do not follow those ground rules, then that is basis for termination. With really, it sounds like you don't have much of a recall or a recourse for that kind of thing. So it's kind of similar here in Canada, except not. There would be you would have grounds according to our human rights, Charter of Human Rights, if an employer terminated you because you had a YouTube channel and you were talking about one of the political parties and how you didn't like the political party, but maybe your employer supported that political party. They couldn't get rid of you because of that. You would have grounds. But if you turned around and in your workplace started, being discriminatory, like saying whatever,
misogynistic things
and things like that, then that is grounds for termination.
I would think that if you say those misogynistic things outside of work and it ends up being broadcasted on TV, you'd also have grounds for...
Yeah.
Because I can think of a situation where that has occurred in the past, where somebody was making a misogynist thing and it ended up being broadcast on the news, and they were terminated. So
yeah, but it seems that there are more restrictions put upon the employer in the States than there are on the employers in Canada with it. Although that could change. Because right now in Canada, with what's going on over in the Middle East right now, Canada has turned into a very racist place. There are people attacking other groups. I am purposely not saying the groups. We know who I'm talking about right now. I'm purposely not saying them because my comments could be might end up saying, someone might say I don't like this group or I favor this group. I'm not favoring either side in this issue whatsoever. Quite frankly, I don't care because I don't have family over there. I am not from either one of those cultures. I know not a lot about their cultures or the conflict between those cultures and everything like that. I am a Canadian. And this is what's burning my butt right now. That here in this country, there are people picking sides and being completely, to say the least, ignorant about it and are acting out in a negative way against other groups. That's not how we deal with things in Canada. That is not us. Yet, it's happening. So maybe this is the new Canada. And I don't like where that's going. And I blame some of this on our government. I blame it on our immigration policies. I blame it on the fact that Canada has never had a strong hold on who we really are. We pride ourselves on being a multicultural country. And I think in some ways, this has gotten us into a lot of trouble because we protect everybody's rights. Well, you can please some of the people some of the time, It's kind of like that. So I am shocked that we have people who are Canadian citizens. Sure, they have a cultural background. They came from somewhere else. We've all come from somewhere else, if you go back in history, right? But if you come to our country, if you've come here, why did you come here? You came here because you thought that this was a better life for you than what you were leaving. But when you turn around and try to make the issues that are happening thousands of miles away from our country and demand of our government that they have to do something about this. They're pissed off with Trudeau because Trudeau would not demand a ceasefire. Because Trudeau said, in Canada, we recognize the rights of both groups equally. It's a diplomatic thing to say, but what else can he say? We're not picking sides with it. We're Switzerland. Okay, on this one. And we have to be. So we're also sitting around waiting to see what the American government's going to do, because that's how we usually operate, kind of a thing. So I find it very, very sad. But to bring it back to the workplace kind of a thing, one of the words that this person used was monitoring. I don't think an employer could get away with that in Canada. I don't think that would. I
believe there are, like where I used to work, they used to monitor people's.
But you worked for government.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What I'm saying is private employers.
Yeah.
Because it's already said in the Human Rights Code, if you work for the government, then there are certain standards that are different than the standards that a private employer can impose upon you. But the whole thing about being monitored, of course, I suppose we could think of it another way. Aren't we all being monitored right now? Aren't we being monitored right now? And what I mean by that is when we go on the internet, everybody knows where we've been. All corporations know where we've been. That's why we get all those personalized advertisements and all the other stuff. Our privacy has been violated left and right. There are cameras on all street corners anymore that
everybody's
are watching
carrying
us.
A cell phone with GPS in it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I suppose we're all being monitored in one form or another. as well. But I guess the bottom line of it was that this person seemed genuinely afraid. Yet that person...
Or
careful. But yet this person has a YouTube channel. And...
Well, see, with the YouTube channel, they can control what they put out there, right? Whereas
I guess.
If you end up associating with somebody else, you have to, because we sometimes talk about political things and stuff like that, so...
Yeah, I suppose it's true, but geez, it really opens your eyes up to the way things work when it comes to, what... I love it with... Okay, the kids, when I was teaching school, first thing that come out of their mouths when they want to get into a conflict with you is, I have the right to say that because I have freedom of speech. And then they'd quote the First Amendment from the United States. And go, sorry, Sonny, you're Canadian, not American. American laws do not apply to Canadians, okay? We do have a human rights code. You might want to read up on it to see what is protected in here. But that always used to, and they'd look at it and they'd argue with me. But actually, those nimrods that tried to storm Ottawa, back in the winter, in that whole bit, they were quoting the American Constitution too.
And the judge would say, could you explain that, how that affects us in Canada?
Yeah, like duh. Yeah. So what are people saying here? Barb says, Marilyn, that's the worst. My employer is very similar. Angel says her employer has very similar policies, but she says, remember, my company's based in Canada. Mm. Your company's based in Canada, but it's not a Canadian-owned company, is it? There's the loophole. Okay? So basically, you are controlled by American law, not Canadian law.
Well, because you're employed in the U.S., you probably are controlled by,
Yeah.
Regardless of where the source of the company is.
Yeah. In my quietude, there says, I love when you do your analysis and comparisons. Okay. Russ says, there's been instances in the States where people have been fired based on things posted on social media, generally associated with hate. Yeah, no, you see, that's kind of a mixed bag, right? Because I would agree, those people shouldn't be posting that kind of stuff, and so they deserve to have the consequences that are fitting for that kind of action there as well. But on the other hand, do we have, either in Canada or the United States, it brings up the question, do we truly have free speech? Or is that just a line in an official government document that holds no weight over it? It makes you question all that kind of stuff. But it's crazy what limits we have on things we can do outside work, like social media sponsorships. I don't think we have any restrictions on that in Canada, unless, of course, it falls under hate speech or hate actions, a discriminatory action. So, I mean, if you were being sponsored by
the
Ku Klux Klan or the what do they call them? The Proud Boys or something like that. Yeah, that would probably fall under our human rights, that you can't do that. You can't have that kind of sponsorship because that's a well-known discriminatory group. Judy says, before I retired, there were a few employees terminated because of a Facebook post. Yeah, you also got to use common sense. People think that because they don't see the other people, they can post whatever they want in social media and get away with it. Well, no, you cannot. Use common sense. Would you say this to a person's face? If you wouldn't, then why do you say it in social media? Kind of a thing. Like, use some logic here. Russ says, non-compete agreements are also stupid. Employer fires you and you can't work in your field for X period of time. You can be controlled after you terminate employment. Yeah, it seems that the employers in the United States have an awful lot of power.
Like there's something about non-disclosure agreements or something like that here where,
Yeah.
let's say you did sexual harassment in your previous job and you go to work for another company or something. Some places require you to disclose that you've been fired because of being you had sexually harassed somebody.
Well, that's a matter of record too.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. I mean, if they were ever charged with it, if they weren't though, but if you go and the employer goes and checks the references, they might find that out as well.
Yeah.
Of course, if the person doesn't give the reference for it, but then the employer's going to say, I see that you worked for here and here, and then there's a big gap here. Like, what happened in those days? And then I think the employer could sniff them out. Then at that, it would become like, okay, you're something you're hiding, and they don't have to hire them for that. But like what Russa says, after you terminate employment, they still can go after you. Like, that's crazy. Stephanie says, non-compete should be illegal. They are saying you can't leave for a better job in the field in which you are an expert. It's ridiculous. Wow. Land of the free and the brave, right? Whoa. Okay. This is opening my eyes up here. I didn't know about those things. Catherine says, people maybe don't remember how Canada saved hostages in their Iranian embassy and got them out of Iran. Merci, Canada. Yeah, a lot of the world doesn't remember a lot of things that we do as Canadians here on a global basis. That's why I said about a week ago or so, we have been helping out the Ukrainians. We send money over and do this to a lot of things in the other countries in the world, and yet we have homeless, hungry people on our own streets in our own country, and that really pisses me off. You look after the people in your own home country first. That's what we pay taxes for. But, you just handed out billions of dollars for all of this. I'm not saying we shouldn't help out where we can, but we have to put it in proportion. And right now, our federal government is ignoring the homelessness and the housing problem that we have here in our country. They're ignoring it completely. But would other countries come to our aid? If we were in the situation that, say, the Ukraine is in, we were being attacked. Of course, that's probably be the Americans. But whatever. You have to remember, Americans, we beat you in the War of 1812. Don't forget that. Okay. Yeah. But I mean, if we were being attacked by some other power in the world or whatever that, would other countries come to our aid as quick as Canada comes to the aid of these other countries? I would say no. I would say they would not. I would say even the American government would not. The American government's always talking about us being great neighbors and, cousins and, a great relationship. We have the longest undefended border in the world. But if push came to shove, I'm not sure what the American government would really do. In fact, there's some idiot in these things that are happening in the States right now for the next election. Some idiot there was talking about building a wall. And not by Mexico, here with Canada. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Well, he's an idiot. But, and all the Americans say he is too. I can't remember his name, but it was some goofball. Anyways. It's kind of, okay. I have non-complete. Oh, Angel I have a non-compete clause in my contract. Yes, my company is Canadian. I just fall under the U.S. branch, if you will. Okay, but Angel, we do not have non-compete clauses in Canada. So that has to...
That you know of.
I'm pretty sure we don't. May have to do some research on that. But that would mean that the American branch of the company you're working for is the one that's putting that in place. Yes, it's just fall under the USA branch. So that's where that's coming from. Sounds complicated. Derek says, I have to have statements like my own views on social media. However, lots of academics starting to feel that their academic freedom is being curtailed because people now sue for anything. Yeah, Very true, Derek. Oh, it was something Ken Taylor. I don't know. Yeah, Canada was a marvelous country. I'm not so sure what our country is right now. We're going through some kind of a transition, and I don't know if the transition is good. Pamela says, I declined to sign the non-compete agreement on a job long ago. At that time, they were having trouble filling my position, so they just dropped it, and I kept working. Okay, so you had a little bit of an edge there. The U.S., M says, would sure come to your aid. Come on. No. Only if they felt that whatever was happening to us was a threat to them.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be aid. It would be come in, all barrels, all guns blazing. We're gonna help you out, Canada, because we're gonna take control of you to get rid of this problem. Yeah. No. In a perfect world, Em, that would happen, but it's not perfect. Julie says, my family was Canadian in 1812, but by 1850 they're farming in Wisconsin. Yeah, well, we beat their ass and kicked them out. So, Catherine says, as a NH, New Hampshire?
Yeah.
State representative, I gave a speech about our border with Canada during a speech. Let me read that again. As an NH state representative, I gave a speech about our border with Canada during a speech. Finish the sentence, Catherine, because now you have me intrigued. So what was the point? What were you making in that speech? The American government might not help, but we Americans are here for you. Yeah, I don't think the American people wouldn't be for us. But it's not the American people that makes the determination. We know that. It's the politics. It's the politicians. It's in both our countries. We all have our fair share of a-holes in government, right? It's not the people. Most Americans I have ever met are very nice people. It's their government that sucks, and our government too. Stephanie says, put up a wall right through the middle of the lake on the line. Yeah. See how long it floats. Colleen says, someday Canada may have to deal with a northern invasion, which is why I think we sound support Ukraine. No, we're supporting Ukraine because they have a lot of wheat. It's an economic thing. That's what we're doing. And do you think when this is all over with the Ukraine, whatever way it turns out, if Ukraine manages to keep the Russians eventually back down, on that, do you think if we did not support the Ukraine that they would not have an effect on our economy because they control a large supply of the wheat? That
a lot of oil comes
and oil too, yeah.
Like oil is in like vegetable oil and stuff like that.
Yeah. Mary's here. Hi, Mary. The state police were to be sent to the border to help border patrol. I'm still not understanding what the point of what your speech was then. The state police were to be sent to the border to help border patrol. Okay, but
Was it for Americans crossing?
Was it for Americans trying to get into Canada? Or was it people trying to get across the border illegally or whatever? I'm sorry if I'm being a little obtuse, Catherine, but I'm trying to understand what it was that the point here. Our fair share of a-holes. You're so funny, but you're right. Yeah, well, we have them, right? M says, any just to say this to be funny or trying to? Who's going to attack Canada?
You never know.
You never know. We have a lot of natural resources. We don't, with the way the world is going these days, with the depletion of some resources and things like that, who knows? We don't know. And Brenda says, have a great weekend. Oh, okay. New short form. A weekend. Okay, Brenda, you too. Bye-bye. Yep, see you on Wednesday, Brenda. So yeah, anyways, there's this whole thing with the employers and whatnot. It was news to me. It really was when this person told me this, and I feel really sorry for that person. That they're that restricted. I mean, I had my restrictions put on me when I was teaching, but I was basically in a government institute, not a private business. So, School education falls under the Ministry of Education in our province, so there were certain things that I couldn't do. But basically, like for example, before the Human Rights Code was in, when I first started teaching in 1981, if they had found out I was gay as a high school teacher, it was grounds for termination. So, of course, I had to live underground for a few years. And then we got the human rights came out and the whole bit, and they added to the human rights the protection for members of the LGBTQ group.
BTQ.
P. Where are you getting a P?
No, LGBTQ.
Q, yeah, whatever.
Have to be out.
For the rainbow group on that. We had protections put in there. And so you could be out, and I could not be fired because I was gay. And I actually eventually got to the point where I was running a GSA, which is a Gay Straight Alliance group, in my school, in my last school. And that was perfectly all right and perfectly legal. I wouldn't have been able to do that and say, like the state of Florida, don't say gay or something like that. So, but there were still other restrictions, but a lot of those restrictions were common sense. Like, I'm working with kids kind of a thing. There's, you don't get up there and start talking, bad-mouthing a cultural group or an ethnic group or something like that. I mean, that's just common sense. You wouldn't do that with it. So, so I didn't really have that many restrictions, so to speak, but you just use common sense. Julie says Greenland might attack. Bring them on. I vote to give Michigan Upper Peninsula to Canada. Well, yeah. Alaska should have been ours, but we didn't want it at the time, apparently. And we still don't. But, yeah, whatever. But anyways, I just thought that was a very interesting issue. I had not come across that. And there was a few people did make some comments about that in the comment section. One person wrote, "Love the quilt you made from Stephanie's pattern, so much so that I'm now on Etsy, blah, blah, blah." About the person who can't be interviewed because their employer monitors their YouTube activity. I never played the corporate workplace game well, but that would send me over the edge. Unless that person was giving up state secrets online, that is outrageous, overstepping by the employer. And another person wrote, "I have to be cautious of activities on my channel in case my employer finds out. It's more of the types of monetization. Somehow that can be a conflict of interest. And I haven't fully figured out how, but it was part of our ethics course in the last year. So while I'm employed by them, I can't do any freebies to me associated with my channel. In other words, you can't have sponsorships, kind of a thing with it. So, yeah. So anyways, it's really kind of interesting, isn't it? It really makes us question how free we are in both our countries. We like to tote that we have all these freedoms, but do we really? I don't know. Stephanie says, "No, Julie, we want the UP, the Upper Peninsula." I don't even know what the Upper Peninsula is of Wisconsin. I have to look on a map, I guess. Or, is it Wisconsin? Yeah, Wisconsin. That whole history of Alaska is strange to me. Why didn't it become Canadian baffles me. We didn't want it. They wouldn't pay the money. It was owned by Russia. And the Canadians wouldn't buy it. And, of course, the Americans did because it was pretty close to Russia up there, like in terms of, not that far to...
Well, that land bridge up the top there's only a short distance between the two parts that when you go from U.S. to Russia.
Well, it's not a land bridge. It's an ice bridge.
It's an ice bridge.
And it only happens every... I don't even know if it happens.
No, actually, I think it's actually land.
Is it land? Yeah. I thought it was just when things froze up there, but... Oh, yeah, whatever. Colleen says, the Canada-Denmark conflict. Yeah, Denmark-Greenland. Yeah, because Denmark owns Greenland. And Greenland is probably better off to be part of Canada because we love to take things that are frozen and dead.
And of course, didn't Trump want it?
Oh, probably, but Trump wants everything. But he's an idiot, as we well know. In Quietude says, you're kind of stuck between US, UK, and Canadian laws. Yeah. Well, whatever. I mean, who wants Greenland? Yeah, Trump. But I don't know. Does Greenland have a lot of natural resources?
I think they do.
Well, that might be one reason why people might want, or governments might want them. Angel says Greenland's having a rough time right now. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about the Greenland's politics or what's happening with them in there. Julie says we Americans have no clue about the history of other countries. I mean, we don't even know our own. Well, I'm glad you said that. Because I would agree with you pretty much. In fact, we as Canadians probably know more about American history than Americans know about Canadian history, or even possibly about their own history, too. I mean,
they evacuated, according to Angel, they evacuated 4,000 residents there due to a potential volcanic
action. Well,
I could see that. I think I did sort of remember that vaguely.
Yeah, well, you know, you live in a country that has a lot of active volcanoes. It's going to happen, isn't it? Like, I feel sorry for them. I'm sure our Canadian government will send billions of dollars over to plug up the hole, or whatever is involved, because, you know, that's what we do. So, anyways, that's our time for today, people. So just a reminder, Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, Wednesday, and the Pop-Up Sew Day this coming Saturday, 8 a.m. Come and go as you please. You know the drill. Everybody does. And the link's in the show notes for this below. It's in So Chatty from Friday, and it'll be in my vlog and in the Idiot Quilter this week as well. So no excuse for not being able to find the link. However, read in the show notes carefully. There are 2 links. One says Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, and one says Pop-Up Sew Day. Make sure you get the right link. I say that because I've had a few people hit the wrong one, and it comes up on my computer that somebody's trying to get into Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, but they're using but it's the Pop-Up Sew Day. It's happened. And you can't get there from here. Okay, everybody, have a good week, and